And who nicked the nose off the cheese?
That wasn't me, I had it on it.
This is mine. That's yours, is it?
Oh, that looks hot.
Oh, so this is your special sauce?
What have you been doing this week?
In 3 cities across the country, 3 families sit down to eat. The benefit system has been overhauled by the coalition to save money. The changes have been controversial. It has become a major election issue. Ladywood in Birmingham has the highest benefit claimant rate in Great Britain. Over 6,000 people claim job seekers allowance. 23-year-old Tashin Shaw has been struggling to find work.
Well, it is tough, but I have to keep myself active, so it's one of them ones, like, if I wasn't doing nothing and I was just job searching and being at home, I ain't got money to go out places, obviously that's going to be depressing, just sitting there constantly, you ain't got nothing going for you. You're just thinking, yo, nobody don't want me in this job, I can't get a job. You're just going to sit there thinking, oh, you ain't going to be able, you ain't living life, you're just sitting there rotting away. You get me? It's dead. It's dead.
I remember when Cameron came into power and he was telling us about, yeah, we're going to create more jobs, we're going to create... But then it tends like more jobs have got cut.
At the end of the day, I brought my children up to aspire for great things, and they will grasp every opportunity that they have. Time and time again, they're let down. Looking for work, can't get a work. When I get on this uni course, can't get on this uni. I remember when we didn't have to pay for university fees.
In Bristol, business owner Fraser has his own thoughts about the changes being made to the welfare state.
I think the biggest problem with benefits is it's too difficult to distinguish between the people who deserve it and the people who don't, but can just sort of seemingly infiltrate the system and just leech off of it. And the people who genuinely deserve it 10 times over.
That's what it's for.
That's what it's for sure. But who decides who that person is? And the person who has never worked in a day in his life because he's got a bad back and because he's got depression, right? And he's just faking it because he thinks, well, that's what I've got to say. And that's, you know, and he's grown up in a society where, well, if you say this and you do that and you do that, you'll get signed off work. You're never going to incentivise somebody who doesn't want to work if you'll give them it for free if they don't.
In Swansea, single mum Steph has concerns about the benefit caps.
I was reading an article that was saying now austerity and poverty has just become commonplace in this country. It's not that we're particularly getting the deficit down and that's urgent. We've been in this austerity now for years. And obviously if a Conservative government comes in, we're continuing on that road, putting more people in poverty for longer amounts of time.
Mm-hmm. What would you want to ask David Cameron? You've got 1 minute with David Cameron. You're not allowed to
I give him
scream.
a proposal.
Oh, he's already married.
No. I think he should live on a normal, like an average person's wage for a year, live in like a normal area.
Let's say 29, because that's being very...
Yeah, that's
29,000, they got to live in Swansea.
Yeah.
In a council house.
In a council house.
Because it does make a difference when you're on a council estate.
Yeah.
There aren't the services
Yeah.
available to you.
Like he's on 29, because if he was on bedroom, if he was on benefits, he'd have bedroom tax, possibly, you know, he'd be in some sort of shit.
Possibly.
For MPs to sit up there and say, oh, we're going to cut benefits when you're giving people £70 a week to live on. How much are you living on? How much are you living on? 65 upwards K a year. But yet you want to cut people's £70 a week.
You've got to remember that the only way they can do that is to take a day in the life of somebody on benefits.
Well, that's what. No, not a day. I want them to live a month.
They need a year.
I want a whole month. I want them to live a month of £70 a week to see how realistic that is for people. And then they wonder why people turn to crime. I'm not condoning it. But I'm saying if you're giving people £70, that is, they're going to pay gas, electric, water, everything out of that. Okay, if they're on it for a period of time while they're out of work, help them, support them. If you've noticed that they're not looking for work and they're not trying for work, okay, if you want to cut it, fair enough. Yeah.
If they keep reducing the benefit cap...
Why do they get benefits for not working? They should get nothing. It's a bit like at school.
So if we get made redundant...
I'm talking. Please don't talk over me. It's a bit like at school. If you were really good at school, you got nothing. But if you were really naughty, you got pulled out of lessons and got taken canoeing and climbing and out of school activities. Why? Why was it not made for the children who did well at school? It's all completely backwards.
I've got a brother who has a house. He was living perfectly fine in there before Lib Dem Conservative come into power, and now he's got to pay bedroom tax.
Yeah. Say who?
Out of his own, out of his pocket when he's had that property, because obviously it was deemed suitable for him at the time. But now he's got to find extra money to be paying for bedroom tax, and these things, to me, it's just not on.